it's Dwayne and welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another tone recreation video for the Quad Cortex for the new Landmarks track that is dropped called Creature. And we're going to try and recreate the tone from it. So it's another high gain tone song. I've got my multi-tracks here. I've got guitar, drums, and bass, so we can actually break this down. These are generated stems here, so they're not going to be completely perfect. I think they might do the job of kind of highlighting the tone, and we're just going to get into it now. So first thing that we always do for a song like a high gain tone is we turn the noise gate on. It's really important, because if we don't turn the noise gate on, then what's going to happen is when we throw a high gain amp in there, it's not going to be pretty at all. For this song, we're going to quickly listen to it, but I can tell you my first little initial listen, it's EVH5153 red channel. Really cool tone. What we're going to do here is we're going to put an overdrive pedal in first, because this kind of song lends itself to the classic Tubescreamer of 10 and 5. We may put that down to 8 actually, because we're going to be driving the amp a little bit higher. As you can hear in the song, or at least I can hear it, it's very crunchy, but a lot of gain in there. Very crunchy though. What would you even call that high pitch sound? It's almost like crickets. So we're going to put the 5150 red channel, which is stickied, because I use this pretty much for all my high gain tones. Now I'm going to put the gain at about 4 for this for now, and I think we're going to set the master to about 6. There's no cab on here yet, so it's not going to sound good. Oh wow, yeah. Sorry, I just blew your ears out. We can keep the bass at 5 actually. We are going to put some mids in there because they're not scooped. We're going to bump up the treble a little bit. We're going to give it some additional bite. So 666 so far. And resonance, we're going to put that at 4. Before we proceed here, because we've got all this in there, I think we should put in a cab. I go for the Zilla custom cabinet, but I think I'm going to go for a 412 CA stand with V30s in it. Let's try number 1. That sounds pretty sick already off the bat. It's actually, it feels like we've kind of got part, let's compare actually, because I feel like we've got part of this tone here already. That is pretty funny. It's very much like it's just a typical metalcore tone in some ways. We're going to make this better, but how many minutes into this video are we? Not very far into it, and we've already kind of got this tone. So I can hear that the gain about 4, the master about 6 is like the sweet spot. But I think we can maybe add a little bit more gain in there. And the Tubescreamer, we can go. Oh, that sounds so good. We see it's a very brutal crunch tone in there, but it's actually not a lot to it when you kind of listen to it in isolation like that. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do like a parametric 3, I think, at the end. Well, I never usually get to... Got a little bit of highs here, which I can hear that are kind of around about 3,000 mark maybe. We're going to cut these out just a little bit. It's a little bit harsh, maybe 2 decibels. Oh, that sounds good. I think maybe we ditch the overdrive off the pedal. So that kind of gives you that... I associate Landmark's tone as being like crunchy, but it's also like not muddy either. You've got this clarity in there, like... It gives you almost... It's almost like a rock tone in a way, like... We could probably even take the gain down a little bit. You don't need as much gain as you think for these tones. They sound beefy, but when you start using a Tubescreamer as a boost pedal, you realize that the amp gain doesn't actually need to be turned up. For a gain sound, you probably want to be between 3 and 4 usually. Is it on 1 string too? Okay, so I'm learning how to play this as well because I heard this song that much. It just came out, so I think it's... Even with our gain on the amp, turn down 3.5, it still sounds like we could even go down. I think we only need 3 on the gain. It's ultimately going to depend on your pickups as well. I've got the Mark Holcomb Alpha Omega passive pickups in here, but they've got a bit of power to them. So we're going to call this Creature, Landmark Creature. I'm actually really happy with this little gain sound in here. So pardon me, you can skip over this. I will have chapters in here, but I'm just going to try and play the song, learn little bits. Chorus. mean, I feel like we're pretty close. Let's listen to this little part here. This actually gives us good insight into the guitar tone because there's like a bit of a bass break in there. Oh, that goes so hard. Like, it almost sounds like there's more gain in that part. Maybe they are doing like... Maybe it's slightly like... God, that goes so hard. I reckon the master volume is actually higher than 6. I reckon they're like at 8. We've tripped up the limiter now. We need to go down like negative 3.2 or something. I think the trick is the master is up pretty high. And then we turn down the overall volume. Still way too loud though. It might be I might be doing this the wrong way. Yeah, maybe we'll do 8.5 and then take this down. Keep that there. Maybe we'll take that down a little bit. We're just basically trying to stop this from clipping. Okay, that's better. I'm playing pretty hard and it's not clipping anymore. Let's play this part again. I think that sounds right. Like it's saturated, but it's not an over the top sound. It's still crunchy, but it hits hard. And if you actually look at our settings, like we're really pushing up the master on there because the idea is like to get that saturation, but the gain is only at 3. I think we're probably hearing more than one guitar playing that part. So we're falling into the trap here of trying to use volume to compensate for multiple tracks. So we're trying to use volume to compensate for multiple tracks, but I still feel like the master needs to be around about 7 because that's just how it is. We're still copying an album tone. So we could tinker with this all day, but I think we have a tone here that's very reminiscent of Creature by Landmarks. So I'm going to try and play through it. Keep in mind, this is my first time attempting to play this. So it's not going to be like, it's not a song playthrough, but Considering I don't know how to play the song, I was kind of just feeling it out. I've only listened to that song like once or twice before doing this video. So, but as I said, this is not like a cover video. The point is to try and get the tone, and I think we got there. Like, if we play it in isolation. And that. I feel like for a quick video, that's probably as good as we're going to get on there. It's close. It probably needs some tweaking, and it's also probably dependent on my guitar as well. My strings are pretty dead on this. These strings are actually pretty old. I'm surprised they haven't snapped off yet and that they're holding their tune, but I'm in drop B just in case you didn't know what tuning I was in. I didn't mention it. But largely what we ended up with to revise is classic Tubescreamer trick. We didn't dial it all the way up to 10 on the level because we do have the master quite high on there. So if we had this all the way up, we probably could have put this down to 7 actually. Usually sometimes you'll match the master and the level on there so you're not kind of overpowering each other. But the Tubescreamer acts as like an EQ on there of sorts. That's why people do it, and they put the overdrive down because they don't want to add any gain to it. We've got the gain really low on here, so that's at a 3. And what that basically does is it gives you like a nice high gain crunch tone, which is what the Landmark's tone is. It's crunch. We probably could have gone and done more stuff in the EQ department up here. In fact, we should actually probably put a low pass in here around about 12K-ish, just to kind of clean that up. Oh, I noticed a little bit of clipping on there too. Take this down just a little bit more. Yeah, okay, that's all good. I'll save that. Yeah, so just a little bit of a low pass up the top here just to clean a bit of the frequencies after 12K. They've got the classic EV5153, EL34, which is like, that's the king when it comes to this type of music. Like the Archetype Gojira plugin that a lot of people love for the heavy tones is basically what this amp is here. I don't know if the Gojira one is a little bit modded or whatever, but pretty much is why a lot of people, when they use plugins, they will use that because this amp is a damn workhorse. Like it just does everything that you expect it. Moderate settings on here, mid, treble, and presence on 6. Bass we left on neutral because we didn't like make it too muddy. Resonance on 4, so we just pulled that back a little bit. We put the master up to 7 to kind of get a little bit more saturation. And yeah, as I said, the gain is on 3, which gives you a crunch basically. Because, you know, if you were to play like lightly, I'm playing hard, but if you were to play lightly, or you can hear it's still got some like grit in it, but it's clean. And that's why you should never, your instinct might be to go put your gain up, but you should always start low. Like I always start around the 3 mark. Sometimes I've done presets where I've even taken the gain down to like 2.5 and it still sounds pretty good. In fact, if I were to set this at 2.5, you probably wouldn't really hear much of a difference. Just a little less like distorted. In fact, it sounds a little bit more clearer in that, doesn't it? I'm going to put that back on 3 though, just because I was happy with the tone that we recorded. And it's a very negligible difference between 2.5, 3 anyway. So yeah, we've got 4 blocks on here. We've got obviously an input gate on there. We didn't touch the default noise reduction, level 8, 5153, red EL34. We did use this CA standing cabinet here with V30s in there. This still would have sounded good if I used the Zilla or similar cabinet, but it kind of felt like, I find these CA stand cabinets, they're a bit darker. They're not as bright, so you kind of get a little bit more meat from them. So that's the kind of reason we're using that one there. But, you know, I could have experimented around and found heaps of them that probably would have fit the ballpark of this sound. So yeah, that's that's the tone. Let me know how you thought I went in the comments, because obviously I'm listening through headphones and I'm kind of going through this as quick as possible. So it's not like I'm meticulously spending hours or days crafting a tone. It's just kind of like, it's fun. I'm not trying to make this a job or anything, but let me know in the comments what you thought. If you have any suggestions for songs or tones that you've been wanting to nail and you've been struggling with, or maybe you just want an issue or challenge, by all means, leave a comment. I do take requests. I've actually got my first request. It would have gone out by the time you see this. Please do send requests. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, because I will be doing more of these videos on a regular basis. Try and get one up every couple of days or so. So the more content and ideas that I have, the better, because eventually I'm going to run out of ideas for songs and I'm going to need people to start suggesting stuff outside my wheelhouse. So that'd be greatly appreciated. And if you made it to the end of this video, as always, I appreciate you watching and I hope to see you in the next one.